I am the lead singer of the band Harvest Men, and I'm coming from you from my new Smyrna Beach home. And I wanted to make this video series about the last 10 years and what I've learned so you guys can actually apply this to yourselves if you want. So you do not have to go through all the pitfalls that I went through and eat ramen noodles. No, I'm just kidding. So what it is the last 10 years are going to be reflected basically in this 10-part video series. So today I wanted to talk about these predatory managers and these predatory booking agents, but preferably not booking agents, but managers. And when I was 19, one of them contacted me and said, listen, we want to sign you. We want you to be like the next, I think the guy used, not Jonas Brothers, the other one, One Direction. Okay, they wanted me to be the next One Direction. So as a 19-year-old, they said, listen, we want you to be signed, and we want to take your music national, and we want for you to use this as an opportunity, to be successful. So one thing that I thought, I was very, very happy. So I contacted all my, mentors and all my Nashville friends who had experience, people who've won Grammys, people who have worked on really big records, and said, listen, they're wanting to, send me this contract and let me sign it via computer, never meeting them. The guy says he lives in New York. And I'm like, I'll go to New York. If you want for me to come, I will come. I'll meet you. I'll sign the papers because I want to be a signed artist with a manager. But they basically, it looked kind of fishy. So I called these guys and they said, I would get a music lawyer. Music lawyers are important. And as a 19-year-old, it's like, yes, they're expensive. I have no money. I want to be signed. So me and this guy talked for a long, long time. And I would say 2 or 3 weeks before I felt comfortable. But what he did is he sent me a 3-year contract. And he said, you just do a digital signature and we're basically going to make you successful. We're going to do a national tour. You're going to, release a single. You're going to send it to me and we're going to basically promote you. And it's going to be a very good thing. And what I looked at as a 19-year-old, I looked at it and was like, okay, he wants to sign me for 3 years. So by the time we're out of the contract, I'll be 22 and I'm 19 right now. And it just seemed a little much. So I contacted him and I said, listen, I would feel more comfortable at 1.5 years. And he's like, well, the stuff that I want to do is going to be 3 years. So I was like, okay, 1.5 years sounds good to me. And that's what I'm comfortable signing. So he agreed to that and sent me a 10-page contract through email. And we were on the phone when I signed it. And he said, just sign this and then we'll start getting to work. And I was like, okay. He wanted 15%. And he was locked in for 15% for the first year and a half. Luckily, I did not make any money the year and a half I was in business for myself because I was just starting out. But I looked at it like he's going to really change my life. After this, I'm going to get a record deal. He's going to have the contacts to bring me to a record deal, bridge the gap. And I had all of my hopes up and it was a legitimate thing. So I thought. So one of the things is, I still have the guy's contacts. He was a legitimate manager and he had legitimate artists under him. But what I learned is, he told me to get a album together. So I worked 6 months, got my single. Sorry, and the album. And, he said, listen, you send this to me and, we're going to make it go big. So as soon as I was signed and I worked 9 months of my life, bought all this equipment, got this single together, he just never returned my calls. And he dumped me like a bad girlfriend. So I was like, this is bad because I'm in contract with this guy, and any money that I make for the first year and a half is going to go straight into this guy's pocket at a 15% rate. And what I learned is that he was a predatory manager who looks out for young talent. So just because you get signed with a predatory manager does not mean you're not talented. They don't just look for dumb blondes, if you will, in the mall and say, I'm going to make you a star, kid. Or men, not just women. But anyways, they do that a lot with models. Like, you're going to be a model, sign my contract. And then they completely take them, for everything they've got. And they use their youth and inexperience against them. So what happened was, I was like, he's not calling me back. He refuses to answer my call. I think he even changed his number, but I'm in contract. So what they assume you're going to do is go to another person and get a real manager or a real record label. And then they're still going to be locked in for what he wanted, which was 3 years. But to me, it was a year and a half of my life and my income. So if he knows you're going to be successful and you make all this money, and then they just pile and legally are obligated to take 15% of your income, if you are the next Britney Spears or you are the next, Taylor Swift or whatever, you're going to be completely paying this guy for 3 years. I've even heard of some people wanting 5-year contracts. And I look all the time, these young artists signing away their rights even, just so that they can be famous. And the thing is that you have to be very aware of what your rights are as a musician. If you give up your publishing rights, let's just say you never, do an orchestral arrangement for a song, but you wrote it. Those are called publishing rights, and publishing royalties are what you get if you sell the song. What Elvis Presley did, he was a very good businessman. He wouldn't even buy a song unless he got the publishing rights, so he can make royalties. So every single time he sings a song, he gets the bottom base income through royalties that song is going to produce. And it's not some other guy in Kansas who wrote the song. So one of the reasons Dolly Parton did not give I Will Always Love You for Elvis to sing is because he wanted to buy the publisher royalties. And these were the things that would enable her to have an income for the rest of her life. That's why all these musicians like Paul McCartney, as soon as you write a really good Christmas song, you can make a ton of money off of it if it becomes a hit and it's played on the radio every single Christmas. So never give up your rights. Never sign anything over in writing, especially if they don't meet with you. Always get a music lawyer. It's better to pay a music lawyer $2,000 to come to a record signing, and they're in the office with you, than it is just to go and do it yourself. Because if you do it yourself, more than likely they're going to use fancy words and promises to try to take advantage of you. And I was so excited because this was I was 19. I literally got the track of Celebrate and had it on a loop. I was like, yeah, I made it. But the thing is that I still had good music. It just wasn't the right outlet to, of course, use it. And, I probably could have reported the guy for fraud, but I was just so happy to be signed and actually, say I have a contract. Another thing he did is the name of his company was very confusing because he wanted to portray that he was part of Universal. So the name of his business was, wait for it, Universal Talent International. So I saw it and I was like, Universal, that's a pretty big record label. I do know, he's a talent agency, so maybe there are links somehow. And, although he never directly said he was part of Universal, the appearance was he's a part of a big record label or, a big company or an executive, and he's going to make you go through all those channels. And he said I was going to go on a nationwide tour. And, when I asked him to go and start booking these shows, he said it wasn't his job. And I was like, that's exactly your job as a booking agent and as a manager is, to get these gigs. And like I said, he dumped me like a bad girlfriend because I did absolutely nothing wrong. I just signed on and was like, okay, so I'm going to produce my single and you're going to, bring it through your channels. But he didn't even return my call or emails. So be very careful. I hope this helps you, and I hope that you can go, a long ways with this information, and we will see you next time.